Hello everyone, Zoviak, minus Jack here. Today I'm going to be finishing Begging for Mercy, erotic Overwatch fanfic. A groan echoed throughout the room. It belonged to Angela, who had just regained consciousness. She wiped crust off her eyes, only to realize she was restricted by a pair of metal handcuffs. She looked around and saw less of a room and more of a cell. She was sitting on a gray stone floor surrounded by equally boring walls. "What'd you do, Reaper?" One solitary light bulb shined above her, providing a dim exception of plain black shorts. This was clothing she was not used to, and actually, come to think of, someone would have had to clean her and clothe her while she was unconscious. The thought of this made her cringe, but she tried to push the idea out of her head. Instead, she focused on trying to find out where the hell she was, and to escape this grim situation she found herself in. Her mind went back to before she passed out, and she cursed under her breath. She remembered how she gave in to the people who broke into her house. She remembered getting fucked and thrown around like a rag doll. The more she remembered, the more she wanted to cry, as the reality of the position hadn't fully hit her yet. Finally, she remembered the man who raped her, and now he hadn't even finished pulling up his pants before his braids were scattered all over her. She remembered the voice of the man who did it. It was a voice she hadn't heard in over 10 years. That voice belonged to the once revered commander of now. That man's name was Gabriel Reyes. Angela was shocked and didn't know what to think because she was convinced she died in the massive explosion that destroyed the main Overwatch HQ. As she thought back, she also remembered losing another very close friend, Jack Morrison, the former strike leader of Overwatch Task Force. As the head of the medical research, she was very familiar with both men and cried for days after the incident. After Overwatch was closed down and all its members were scattered or hunted by various governments in an attempt to cover up its failure, Angela managed to work in an American hospital for her abundance of contributions to medical research and high standing rat trying to leave a sinking ship. A hail of insults and screams were directed towards the men, who seemed to have no reaction at all. What did they have, lobotomies or something? Angela finally ran out of the energy and slumped to the side and walked into her cell with a very silent Benny. Again, Angela squirmed on the floor, but knew she couldn't go anywhere. Both men picked her up by her arms, and surprisingly gentleness and ease. At first, Angela was scared and tried to struggle out of their grip, but stopped resisting as both men seemed totally uninterested in her. She was very confused, as she had vivid memories of both men having been very sexually aggressive in her presence. What made them so tame? Lobotomies or something? Yet another question bugged her as she was half carried, half dragged out of her dim little cell and into a slim corridor with a door at each end. There seemed to be cells like hers spanning both sides of the long passage. Both men neither talked nor looked at Angela as they dragged her to one of the doors. "Where are you taking me?" she questioned in a restless tone. Both men ignored the doctor as the door was opened. Behind the door was a set of large stairs. The trio silently journeyed up the long flight of stairs, which made Angela aware of how fast and hard her heart was beating. She was now used to being in threatening situations and didn't need to see how this was any different. She scratched it up to being thirsty and hungry. That's why I decided to stop working on the store. Fuck you. What the? This person just quit. This person just quit. Cheers. A very silly British man who writes sex stories on the internet. Screw you. Man, it was getting interesting. Nah.